Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside C3i magazine issue number 34. This is a magazine published by RBM Studios, and Roger McGowan always does an outstanding job with this magazine. And on the front cover we have the main game in this issue, Trevor Bender's Battle for Kursk, The Tigers Are Burning 1943. I said main game because this issue comes with not one, but two games, and that is fantastic because we've got this great East Front game, Battle for Kursk, and we also get a Vietnam solitaire game as well. So let's take a look through and see everything that you get with issue number 34 of C3i magazine. Get the magazine itself, rules for the Battle of Kursk, the map for the Battle of Kursk, odds markers you can make up for yourself for the Battle of Kursk, Firebase Vietnam, which is the other solitaire game that comes with this issue. Couple of scenarios, Bagel of Agrigentum for SPQR and GBOH. Two expansions for the Hunters, the Type UA and the Type 11 Cruiser. 60 years of wargaming poster, and our sheet of counters. So let's take a closer look at everything you get. The first thing I want to take a look at is this poster, 60 years of war games through 250 games, and it's broken down by period as well as the times where they were published. We start off here, obviously the biggest chunk is World War II, 1958 to 69, 70 to 76, and so forth, all the way in through the 2000s and the 2010s. Then we have Napoleonics, American Civil War, American Revolutionary War era, Ancients, Medieval Gunpowder, Imperial World War I and Between the Wars, Modern World War III, and in Fantasy and Space. And you can see all of the different titles in here along with some famous faces. Richard Berg and Mark Herman here, Jim Dunnigan, Roger McGowan over here, Don Greenwood, a lot of the luminaries in our great hobby, as well as plenty of the different games that you probably already have or had in your collection at one time or another. And it's a really nice walk through memory lane to see where games were in 1958 and where they are in 2010, or 2010s, I should say. And it's a really nice piece of history and really cool thing to put up on your war game wall in your little war game area. And here's a look at the map for the Battle for Kursk, The Tigers Are Burning 1943, Trevor Bender's game. That is the main game inside this issue. You can see the proper orientation here, and you can read the names of the locations on the map and the area of operations for this game. I'm going to turn it sideways so you can get a better look at the tables that are on the side, but at the bottom here we have the terrain key, the terrain effects chart, and along the bottom you have the victory point track, and behind the victory point track you have color codes. And these color codes here, the first ones for green is the German strategic victory, and the slashed lines here that are green, that's German operational victory. The orange slashed lines are the Russian operational victory, and then the red behind that is the Russian strategic victory. So higher up the score track goes, it goes for a Russian strategic victory. The lower it is a German strategic victory. But I'm going to turn it sideways, and then we'll look at the other tables that are on this map. And here's a look at the map lengthwise, that way you can get a better idea of the type of terrain that you'll be facing on the map. On this side, this is the German side, that is the Soviet side. We'll see all of the charts and tables for the German player, which are identical on the other side for the Soviet player. We have the turn track here at the top, which breaks down all of the turns by date, and then also whether it is a mud turn or not, and what replacements are available for both the Germans and the Soviets. You have a turn track key right here, which breaks down what each of these items on the turn track means. You have the sequence of play. The German player goes first, the Russian player goes second, and then the battle sequence, combat results table, and eliminated German units here. And then you have the phase sequence and the posture track here for the Germans, obviously the same on the other side for the Soviets. Then we have the odds markers, which we saw when we were looking at all the contents of the magazine. This is something you can create yourself. You have the front of the counters and the backs of the counters. You can make them up yourself, so that way you can more easily keep track of the different odds for all the battles that you designate in the game. Then for the other inserts, we have the SPQR Deluxe Scenario, Battle of Agrigentum, and then also the same battle for Simple Great Battles of History. And then two new submarine mats for Greg Smith's The Hunters. We have the Type UA and then the Type 11 Cruiser. And we'll take a look at the counter sheet that comes with the magazine. On the left-hand side will be all the counters for Kursk. The Tigers are burning. They'll continue on over to the top of here. And Stalingrad 42 has some extra counters, some for Imperial Struggle, Agrigentum, Invasion Hawaii for the people, Firebase Vietnam, which is the second game in this issue. There are counters for that. The Hunters, Deluxe Dark Valley, Issue, and No Retreat, France, Poland, as well as a couple for the Dark Sands. And we'll take a look at the rules. This is a 16-page full-color rulebook. The table of contents on the inside of the front cover here on page 2, and it breaks down the introduction, general course of play, game equipment, and then the counters in the game. Counters in the game, you're talking Army and Corps level. That's what we're going to be using in this game. Sequence of play, the procedures, starting on page 3, and then we get to victory conditions, and then we have the setting up the game on page 4, your Zocs, your movement, illustrated example down here to help you understand all the different concepts in the game. Movement example number 2, the first one we saw on the other page. Then we have combat examples, 3 different combat examples there illustrated. They carry over for a few more. We have 6 combat examples, all illustrated, and I always talk about how I love illustrated examples of play. Fantastic to see that in this rule book. Then we have replacements, and then a replacement example, how that's handled on page 10, and more text examples to support that. Then we have MUD, the posture track, and then we get to the game credits here on page 12. So the rules themselves only go to about page 12. They actually start on page 2, so about 10 pages of rules. It's not a tremendous amount of rules to grok, so very easy to get into this game. Then we get some design notes from Trevor Bender, and then also keep in mind, there is a Vassal module already available for this, and I reminded me was the mention of the Vassal module designed by Jason Carr. So don't forget to grab the Vassal module once you get a copy of the magazine. Then we have Trevor, another article from Trevor. This is an interview, and then that carries over to the back of the rulebook on page 16. Next, we'll take a look at the second game that comes in issue number 34. This is Firebase Vietnam. It is a game designed by Pascal Tupi, and it is a real simple, easy to play, 1 page of rules, 3 locations, that's it. You've got the outer perimeter defensive zone and the tactical operations center, and then 1 page of rules. You'll use the counters that come on the counter sheet. I think there were like 6 of them, and then you'll need to supply 4 6-sided dice. That's it. This looks like a very easy game to understand, and also a real nice small form factor game you can take with you to work or on the road if you travel and you want to have something to do in the evening. You want to knock out a few games, easy enough to take with you and play. Looking forward to getting this one on the table. I'll probably even throw this on the table tonight and give it a whirl and see how good it is. But looking forward to playing it. Now we'll take a look inside the magazine. It is a 67-page magazine, full color as always, and outstanding layout as always by Roger. He does a fantastic job with this magazine. Really enjoy it. We have our table of contents here, which lists out all the different articles, then the inserts themselves, which we've already taken a look at, the counter sheet we've taken a look at, Battle for Kursk, SPQR, the 2 setup cards for the Battle of Agrigentum, the Hunters 2 display mats for that game, Firebase Vietnam, and then 60 plus years of war games, the history poster. And we start here with the first article, Lessons Learned by James Dunnigan. And that goes on for several pages. It's going to be a great read if it's coming from Jim. Developers look back at 20 years of the great battles of history by Alan Ray. That'll be very popular with fans of GBOH. Infantry Tactics Behind Fields of Fire Part 2, Offensive Tactics by designer Ben Hull. We've got a good bit of information for that. Then we have the C3i Expansion Pack number 1 for the Hunters by Greg Smith. If you've not played that, there's several games in the series. Fantastic series of games by Greg. Then we have the Battle of Agrigentum. We get into Cleo's Corner here, Designing Unbalanced Games or How to Create Strategic Surprise by Mark Herman. That goes on for several pages. Covers a lot of information. Then we have Undaunted Normandy, Walking in the Footsteps of the 30th ID from David Thompson, the designer of Undaunted Normandy. Great little background information there about Normandy. Then we have France, 1944, the Allied Crusade in Europe. This is an article by Judd Vance who is a Mark Herman superfan. Then we have OCS Wargaming with a Purpose by Steve Carey and Peter Mogensen, a breakdown of the OCS games. Then we have Harold Buchanan, Snakes and Ladders, number 1. Why do we play what we play? I don't know about you, but I usually play what I play for fun. C3i Interview with Chad Jensen. Then we have the Opening Waterloo Strategy by Mark Herman for his Waterloo game, which was in C3i magazine as well. Drop Zone Southern France. Then we have Post-Cold War, Making of the Post-Cold War World Order by VPJ Orpinen. And there is the information for the Battle for Kursk, the Tigers Are Burning game, which is the main game inside this issue. And that is a look at everything you get inside of C3i Magazine, issue number 34. This is a magazine published by RBM Studios, and it is shipping now. Like I said, I just got this in the mail, and I wanted to throw it down on the table to show you what comes inside of it. For those who are waiting for their copy, they'll get an idea now what to expect. And for those who are on the fence, maybe this will push you over and show you that this is a great magazine to get hold of. And in this issue, we get 2 games, not just 1, as we normally do, but 2. Battle for Kursk from Trevor Bender and Firebase Vietnam by Pascal Tupi. And that one looks like a really easy game to take with you and play. Battle for Kursk looks like a pretty straightforward game itself. Just obviously a little bit bigger footprint than something like Firebase Vietnam, but definitely going to be awesome because East Front is definitely the best place to game, in my opinion. I just love the movement and the action that comes out of the East Front. But really looking forward to getting both games on the table, looking forward to reading through the articles in this magazine and enjoying yet another quality magazine from RBM Studios. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you've been curious about this one. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.